I'm pretty sure if we wanted to, Seraphius and I could probably beat every regular guard here. The captain is a little dubious because he's probably higher ranking. A door without a key is just a wall.
What we're doing right now? I thought we were looking for your key.
Come on, Seraphius, one step at a time.
I thought the key was the one step at a time.
Well, it's part of the step at a time.
I don't quite understand.
All will be made clear. Listen.
This is what a Seeker's Vault has in it? Food?
And booze.
And booze, right.
The two greatest things in life. What else were you expecting?
Welcome back, Foundlings, to another episode of the Gate Chronicles. This is Chronicle 1, Chapter 79. I am your game master and host. My name is Emily, and today I am joined by my only player, which we've been alternating back and forth for the past 2 sessions, so I wonder if you can guess who it is today. That's right, it's Finrear. I'm kidding, we already did that. Anyway, today I am joined by my only other player at the table currently because the party is horribly split up again.
I mean, hey, look at it this way. Splitting the party is not as difficult when there are only 2 people.
Could you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Quentin, and I play Charles Smoot, 57-year-old biology teacher, born and raised in upstate New York.
I guess then, let's get started. With Seraphius at his side, Charles Smoot found it much easier to navigate around the constrictive authority of the Red Guard and Captain Brandt. And with more freedom to explore, the location of the Seeker's Vault soon revealed itself. The Cliffside Lodge was merely a ruse, while the true Wolf's Lodge resided at the base of the cliffs. Venturing into the secret base, Charles discovered a hidden reliquary where he found an object he believes just might be what the Red Guard have been searching for. Now, Charles and Seraphius are beginning to hatch their plan, but first, they must handle Captain Brandt and his soldiers. So, we are currently outside of the waterfall. Captain Brandt is currently standing outside of this waterfall, looking mildly annoyed, as he always does, as well as perplexed as you emerge from underneath of the fall. And you see a perception check in your future.
Oh, I love those.
That would be an appropriate roll to make. Maybe you made this at the end of last session, but I don't remember.
Total 21 for Charles Smoot.
As I said, you see Captain Brandt. But you also see 3 other Red Guard there. Amongst these recruits, you see the younger gentleman that was sort of aiding you earlier when you were at the dig site. And you can tell that they all seem mildly frazzled. And gazing over at the cliffs, you see that there seems to be a very hastily assembled sort of lift.
They assembled an entire lift?
And when I say hastily assembled, it's like a really, like you see that there's a bunch of Red Guard up top that are holding a pole in place.
Very powerful.
But you can tell that probably nobody else is coming down currently. So there are only 4 people in front of you at this time.
Sure.
And Captain Brandt, clearing his throat, speaks up. So what exactly is all of this?
Well, that's a cliff, and that's a waterfall.
Silence, your insolence is unacceptable. Now, what have you found?
Weren't you looking for the Seeker Vault?
Oui.
Okay, well, I can show you.
You just hear a sort of throat clearing from Seraphius. Are we going back in, or...
Yeah, once there, and then out of the sight of those guys. And Smoot just kind of like nods up to the top of the cliffside, where he sees that there are other Red Guards which could potentially witness anything.
Captain Brandt would give us a second. As you wish, Seraphius.
We just turn our backs to him and like occasionally look over our shoulder to look at the very agitated captain.
Yeah, who is definitely just eating a baguette, very frustrated.
And just like point at him occasionally.
What exactly are we doing?
What do you mean? We're going to bait him in.
What? Okay.
And then we're going to kill him.
Why?
What do you mean, why?
You want to do this right now? You don't want to send out your message first?
It was an accident when he was exploring the Seeker's Vault. Then we will be the ranking officials here. By de facto, we'll be in charge. I'm sorry, are you saying that the Red Guard don't have a chain of command? Everyone else here's greenhorns. They're not going to do anything.
Are you quite done yet? You're taking very long.
Yeah, I understand. My associate here was just trying to say whether or not it was worth bringing you in because there are a lot of booby traps. I turn to Seraphius. I just need you to lure away the recruits, and I'll take care of the captain. We're going to take them into the vault, and then I'm going to remember them.
Right.
He turns back. I guess you both kind of turn at the same time and do like a smile like, all right.
Okay.
Right. This way, I guess you have to open the door.
Yeah, I do.
And close. Okay.
Yeah. All right, everyone on this side of the waterfall.
So Cerulean would have followed you out. Would you have him go back in with you, or is he staying outside?
Staying outside. I kind of look at him knowingly, like, watch the place. As we are going in, Charles Smoot will drink a health potion, as he did take a sizable chunk of damage from, falling halfway down the cliff.
Popping out the cork, you down this quickly, and you feel yourself slightly rejuvenated. You feel ready for what is about to come. You go over, you apply your badge to the door, and it opens the stone door, which slides back, and you can see that all of these young Redguard are just looking in awe at the fact that there is a secret door behind the waterfall.
The door moved.
Prepare yourselves, men. We don't know what could be in here.
Oh, I mean...
Like, the dark?
Also, we already, looked through the place, so...
There's some food.
Yeah. Seraphius, if you want to take the recruits to go start lugging up the supplies and rations from over on the left, I'll show the captain what I found here on the right.
Right.
Captain, I found something that I believe the Order-Knight Revenant is looking for, but I wanted to get your opinion on it.
You see as a smile crosses his lips. He seems excited by this.
Je don't say. Very exciting news. Show me.
Strangely, per your instructions, the recruits begin following after Seraphius down the somewhat narrow hallway, with the younger individual kind of looking back at you and just looking mildly concerned about what might be going on. He has this strange look in his eye. So they begin walking down the hall, following Seraphius into the back room.
It's just in here. Lots of food items. At the back, you'll find some ale. Oh, ale! I love ale!
The door opens, and they go inside.
And Charles Smoot leads the captain over to the right-hand side where the check-in desk is.
So, what exactly have you found in here, monsieur?
Well, besides finding the entrance, which, if it were up to the rest of your men digging in the backyard, would have never found this place, I've also found that this room is more or less a diversion. And Charles Smoot hops over the check-in counter. You see, Seekers like to have things conveniently close. However, they don't like them being easily discovered. And Charles Smoot will kind of walk around the corner. But you see, they don't like them to be very easily discovered.
But of course, they are crows, after all.
Charles Smoot begins walking back to the entrance that leads to the real reliquary.
Okay. You hear as he also hops over the counter and kind of lands, almost landing without making much of a sound.
As he now sees that the captain is on the correct side of the desk, will activate the mechanism, revealing the secret corridor.
You have to step aside slightly as the shelf kind of pushes out and then slides back into the wall a little bit. The captain stops.
And just how far is this item?
20 feet down the hallway to the left.
Interesting that it would be somewhere where we will be cut off from my men. Why should I follow you?
Do you want to see the item that Order-Knight Revenant might want?
Roll the diplomacy.
Actually, no, that is my worst skill. 23 total for Charles Smoot.
With his nose turned up towards you, seems to look at the ground momentarily.
Very well.
And he follows after you. You walk into the room, the light flickers on and shudders a little bit, just as you remember. The towering rows of black boxes greets your vision. You see as the captain sort of walks off just a little bit to the right and stares into one of these black boxes.
Fascinating.
Seekers collect many things, but presumably, even though a lot of this is of intrigue, the majority of it isn't worth the amount of trouble that the king and the Order Knight are going through. They are looking for something very specific. Can you make a perception check just for something that looks cool in the room? I want to find an item that if I saw it without any context, I would think, wow, that's worth killing hundreds of people over.
So you walk over to like the far left side of the room, all the way towards like the inner portion.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'll lure him in there. I believe this, based off the description, is what the Order Knight is after. I'm kind of stepping aside and letting him take a look at it.
There are very narrow spaces in between. There's only 5 feet.
I'll step back in between a number of rows, allowing the captain to pass me so that he can go further in.
I need you to roll a deception.
15 total for Charles Smoot.
He looks at you right as he's beginning to walk by.
You seem uncomfortable. Is something the matter?
Oh, I mean, a number of things don't matter, but you don't really strike me as the therapist type.
You don't strike me as the type that is trustworthy.
He steps back, drawing his blade.
I don't trust that you brought me here to show me this object. I think you are trying to lure me in to kill me. So,
he seems confident in himself as he sort of holds his blade up, challenging you.
I would love to see you try.
Well, when it's all said and done, and I take you to the pearly gates, just remember, you asked for it. Charles Smoot unsheaths his sword.
Okay, roll your initiative.
Natural 20 for a total of 33 for Charles Smoot's initiative.
Natural 1 for him. All right, Charles Smoot, you are in fact starting first.
These glass cases.
They are fully from floor to ceiling.
Floor to ceiling?
Mm-hmm. This is a very narrow space.
Well, Charles Smoot would like to attempt to utilize the reposition combat maneuver, which is an athletics check, to basically grab this Frenchman like the scruff of his coat and just throw him basically into the corridor behind him.
Okay. You can attempt to do so. Go ahead and roll. Go for it.
Before I do so, I am, of course, as always, going to enter a barbarian rage. Hooray! 23 for Charles Smoot.
You release this primal rage within you and grab at Captain Brandt's tunic, trying to reposition him. He resists and kind of pushes your hands off of you with this one free hand. You have one more action, correct?
I do. Well, when in doubt, hit it with a stick. So Charles Smoot is going to make a strike attempt with his large striking bastard sword.
Is this the oversized? Can you swing that in this space? I don't think you can. Regardless, you can try, but I'm going to put you at a minor penalty.
Sure.
This is a tight space. It's going to be fun.
It's a tight space. Charles Smoot critically fails the natural 1 for his attack roll.
What was that about dice rolls earlier?
Hey man, I got the natural 20 to let me go first and show my ineptitude. Can't move him, can't hit him.
I'm so sorry, Quentin. So yeah, the order of events were as follows. You got angry, tried to grab him. He pushes you off. You immediately swing one-handed then with your bastard sword, trying to bring it arcing over. But unfortunately, as you do, it gets stuck in the bin directly to your left. And you feel it and you can't get it out. It's going to cost you a move action to get it out. Seeing your struggle, the captain laughs. And he is going to attempt simply to strike you. He is super confident in himself. He laughs, piercing your flesh twice. With the first attack, you take 18 damage, and with the second attack, you take 17 damage. He then begins to run out of the room. By running, I mean he strides up to his movement speed, closer to the edge of the room. It's back to your turn.
So Charles Smoot is aggravated and experiencing some serious bloodlust right now. My question is how does Selrak feel?
Selrak is ready to fight.
Let's get him.
Charles Smoot, literally enraged, but also now aggravated at the course of events for this combat. You hear as Charles Smoot's voice contorts.
Yes, run.
Charles Smoot's going to use an action to dislodge his blade.
Okay, you do so.
And then I'm going to use one of the few barbarian feats I do actually have, which is sudden charge. I may stride up to twice if need be, and if I end my movement within reach of at least one enemy, I can make a melee strike against him. But I'm going to run past him to block the exit. Wielding his bastard sword with two hands, Charles strikes. 32 to hit.
That definitely hits. What are you about to do to this poor man? Oh, those are some dice. Those are some dice.
36 damage from Charles Smoot. Charles Smoot, gripping his bastard sword with two hands, heaves it overhead. You can hear the sharp whining of the metal grating the top of the ceiling as it cleaves through, leaving a scratch. And it just comes down right into the clavicle of the captain, like piercing deep into the bone.
You bastard! Ah!
Captain Brandt, appearing desperate now that you've wounded him pretty critically in his left collar, makes wild lashings at you, and with 2 strikes, you feel as he pierces your flesh. You take 17 and 13 damage respectively. How are you doing?
Bloodied by all technicality.
It's your turn.
Please, Captain. You think that would be enough to fell me?
Okay, what do you want to do?
Oh, Charles Smoot's just going to strike. So yeah, 24 to hit with a schnasty total, 19 damage.
He takes significant damage. You can tell he is also bloodied.
Attacking yet another time for a total 29.
That hits.
The second one hitting for a chunky 33 damage.
Okay. As you hit him with that, you can see he kind of it crumples down a little bit. Wait, don't. What do you do?
Charles Smoot looking down at the man groveling beneath his feet.
And why would I show mercy?
Charles Smoot will attempt to make his third attack.
You have your sword held over him, blade pointed down, but you bring it down to the side, missing him. He begins to shout,
Gods, help me! This man is a traitor!
And you hear as his voice just echoes down the hallway. The question that remains, do my boys hear it over here?
I did lure him pretty far into a back room.
Yeah, but it's a dungeon.
It is a dungeon.
And sound travels and bounces.
Sound does travel.
And the door is not closed on the back room. I'm going to roll a perception check for each of them, and we'll find out the result of that in a bit. After he does this, I think he's going to try and trip you. You are knocked prone. He runs by you, attempting to make his escape.
Charles Smoot will spend a movement action to stand up.
I love it when they run.
And Charles Smoot will do the same sudden charge maneuver that he did earlier, chasing after the captain. And then as he does, dashing up to him, trying to plunge his bastard sword right in the back of the captain.
Okay, sure. Roll to hit.
21 to hit.
It does not hit. With his blood dripping down his clothes, he even slips a little bit on his own blood, causing you to actually miss him as you come up with your bastard sword. Okay, it is now his turn. He turns, taking a weak swipe at you. You take 16 points of damage as he pierces at your flesh, fear just dripping in his eyes, and he begins again fleeing away from you, screaming all the way along.
Charles will continue his blood-crazed charging, barreling down the hallways, shoving himself through the hidden doorway, making himself over to the counter right where the captain is, and striking once more.
Okay, roll to hit.
Third time's the charm. 27 to hit.
Definitely hits.
But Charles Smoot charges up behind him and just plunges his sword deep into the back and almost hoists the man up off the ground and dangling almost as if on a pike.
And his blood is just dripping down onto the floor, and you see that there's a bloody trail from where you stand all the way back. But you have been victorious at this time. As you plunge your blade into his back, he lets out one final gurgling, squelching squeal. It's barely audible at this point as he breathes his last.
Charles Smoot is going to, if he may, very quickly attempt to stash the body in the hidden hall, dragging the captain's corpse back over and just resting it up against the wall.
You drag his body back over inside, and what do you do from there?
Can I make a perception check to see if I hear anyone coming up the hall?
Oh, you definitely hear what sounds like a group of men kind of approaching towards your room.
I will quickly leaving the body in the hidden corridor, and I will trigger the switch, which resets the hidden passageway.
The door slides shut, the shelf now back in place. You see a few of the items on the shelf kind of sway a little with this sudden movement. And as this happens, the recruits come in, the youngest at the lead. You come out and you can kind of glimpse Seraphius in the back, and you can see that he's just avoiding eye contact with you. And these 3 young recruits look around suspiciously. There is a lot of blood in this room.
Oh, a trap. Laid by the Seekers.
Where's Captain Brandt, is it?
Got him.
Roll deception.
I didn't tell anything that was a lie. It was a trap laid by a seeker, and it did get him.
I'll give you a bonus. But you're trying to hide something.
20 from Charles Smith's deception.
The one recruit with dark hair who's kind of outside of the room with Seraphius just nods along.
Sounds about right. These people are quite dangerous. But I hope Captain Brandt's okay. Maybe we take a look around for him.
But the youngest recruit eyes you warily. You can see his eyes shifting around and looking over at the bloody desk and then back over to you. And the other, somewhat longer-haired recruit looks at you as well. Some confusion on his face.
And where do you say this trap was?
It's like the floor swallowed him up. Stabbed me, too. And it just receded like a pitfall. I don't know what triggered it, but we shouldn't stay here long.
Okay. Roll a diplomacy.
21 total for Charles Smoot.
The youngest recruit looks back. His little bit of red hair kind of like swaying as he quickly turns away.
We should probably listen to him. Leave this area. There's more here than meets the eye.
Kind of looks back at you.
It's more dangerous than you'd realize.
Right, so with that, we take the rations that we can carry out of the storeroom, and we begin exiting the secret vault.
They go out ahead of you after they gather those things.
Now what?
What do you mean, now what?
Well, now that
the guards, the young recruits, are making their way back over to where they came down from and look up. They kind of just stand there, and you can see them talking amongst themselves as they look back up the cliffside, pointing then back towards the long way around versus going up.
One's long and tiring, the other one is like a 90% chance of death.
And now they have supplies.
So, now we need to enact the rest of the plan.
Yeah, that is the plan.
Right. How are we telling someone?
What do you mean, how are we telling someone?
Am I going back? Are we sending a note? Are we sending another guard?
I guess we send a guard, right? Because we have things to do here still.
Sure. I mean, if you'd kept Captain Brandt alive, I'm sure he would love to have gone back. But
he looks you up and down.
You look terrible.
Yeah, I could probably use like a day's rest and maybe a med kit. We need to get to the camp to tell our version of the story before they can start spreading rumors. I'm not sure how infallible they believe my tale to be. Though the precedent of the Seekers laying traps and Redguard being killed by them is helpful.
Right. Well, let's go then.
So, both of us hop back up on our elks and attempt to spur them to the cliffside to see how they respond.
The way down was definitely easier. Going back up feels more precarious because it's a lot easier for the elk to just hop down.
Yeah, of course.
And you feel...
Well, I'm not riding Cerulean. To clarify, I'm
know.
riding the well-aged and trained elk who's done this before.
Roll a nature check.
It's a total of 20 for Charles Smith.
Again, after that relatively more brief journey up the side path, you see that the guards below are looking up at you in confusion again. How the heck do we have to walk all the way around? Their voices kind of like cutting off as they're just arguing about how they should get back up. But as you reach the top, you see that there are a large number of these recruits that were like trying to gather as much rope as possible and are running around like ants currently, just trying to get things together. But they stop as they see you come back up to the top with Seraphius.
There's a lot of attention.
How good are you at bluffing?
Me? I am not somebody who gives speeches.
I give good speeches, but they don't always come across the best.
Right.
Out of game, I'm asking who has the higher diplomacy skill. Mine's a 7.
Seraphius rides the elk out towards the center of camp, and you can see some of these guard are starting to gather around.
Men, unfortunately, Captain Brandt will not be returning. There was an accident. From here on, I'll be assuming authority over this encampment. But this is also a time to celebrate, as we have gained access to the Seeker's Vault.
And there's a cheer that erupts over the camp. After he announces this, you can see that certainly there's a mixture of joy and some sadness as a few of them kind of like lower their heads and saying like a prayer of sorts, it seems like, for Captain Brandt. So let's fast forward a little bit then, shall we?
Shall we?
Seraphius notifies you the items that you had ordered, air quotes, were being stored at a local village called Deptford.
If you're looking to get any support from the artisans, we may have to go in person. If you're just wanting to get the supplies, we could send. Maybe I could run and get them. But obviously, if I'm in charge of this, that wouldn't work.
How do you think the artisans would feel if I carting the supplies back over? Doing it by myself, not the most ideal, but also attempting to sway rebel support when I have Redguard in tow for muscle isn't the best look.
There's a small supply shipment that comes from there. Mostly fresh goods. Comes sometimes twice a week or once. It really depends upon the weather. It should be here tomorrow.
Okay. Do you know about how far out the town is from here?
Few hours by boat.
It's not bad.
But it's on the opposite side of the river.
Not a problem. This is what we need to do. The Redguard only know that we have now found the vault. First order of business is I'm going to have to clean up the place and dispose of Captain Brandt's body. After that, we'll have to start spinning the tale to expedite some of the work. We're still looking for whatever Order Knight Revenant needs. We need to set up the explosives.
From Seraphius's estimates, he tells you that
just as it took you 3 days to get here, it'll take 3 days for one of our messengers to get back. And knowing the Order Knight, he'll want to be here as soon as possible. I would say we have 6 days, at least.
After we send the message.
Yes.
Order Knight Revenant doesn't know how long it's going to take me to find the vault. We haven't notified him that we found the vault, and we certainly haven't notified him that we found what he's looking for. We make our preparations before we send the messenger. Make sure that everything is in place.
All right.
Then we can send the messenger. Maybe even a small group of the Red Guard to dwindle their numbers some. I don't want to risk life unnecessarily, but I feel like we may need to still overthrow the encampment.
Charles, you are certainly...
With the aid of the artisans, I mean, all of these are greenhorns anyways. No one really knows what they're doing. We should be able to overpower all of the current station guards. Their numbers are dwindling. Their morale's better now, but was in the dumpster. We ixnay all the Red Guard, and then have the artisans pose as the new recruits.
You're going to have to convince them of that.
I'm aware I'm going to have to convince them of
They're
that.
artisans. They are not fighters. And yes, I understand that these young men are mostly just recruits, but they've still had training. They're stronger than your average villager.
You'd be surprised what people are capable of when they're desperate.
I know, I've been there. But I also know how they train these people. These kids. And some of them are much older. I don't know how they ended up here at all.
Well, fine, we take them out.
It's going to be a lot of work.
No one said overthrowing an empire was easy, Seraphius.
he just pauses.
I understand. I just don't think that overthrowing an encampment is something that two people can do alone, easily.
Well, take your pick then. You were complaining when I suggested we get reinforcements, and then... Wait. We can get reinforcements. Trained reinforcements.
All right. Don't tell me you have some sort of little pocket army. You just throw them out there and they just appear out of nowhere. Don't worry, I've seen some stuff that Seekers can do. It's really weird.
Something like that.
Oh.
Oh no. The pocket army.
It'll be risky, and I'm sure that everyone's going to hate the amount of red tape that I'm cutting through. Might bite me in the ass, but might be our best bet.
How long do you think this will take, Charles?
A couple of days. I need to rest up. The captain, he was a captain for a reason. He wasn't a slouch.
If you need the time, take it. But if the point is that they have to be able to go into the vault to look around, it won't do much good because they have to have your key to get in if you're leaving.
I will be entering. I may not be coming back for a while. We'll definitely need the supplies. We may need the artisans. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if me asking for aid and if I'll even get reinforcements from who I'm thinking. Play it one step at a time. Rest for the day, and then once I'm back on my feet, I'll go back into the secret vault. I'll figure this all out, and I should have word for you sometime tomorrow.
Let me know. And obviously, you're welcome to stay in here.
He gestures to the cabin that you are both now standing in.
Oh, finally. That prick was not allowing anyone in here.
Honestly, he didn't do a bad job in here. I've seen worse when they pillage. At least he didn't tear up the paintings.
Thank God it was the only thing that gave me a hint to where it was supposed to go.
He was a man who appreciated art.
Thankfully, they gave someone of taste to the station.
You know, Seraphius looks a little down. It seems the loss of life does bother him in some way. But you split off from him, and you go to rest.
No, like genuinely resting. My character is 36 out of 120 HP.
Okay, so I'm going to have you rest for the night for one night.
Oh, you would drink 2 potions.
So Charles Smoot, you drank your health potions before you went to bed, feeling yourself slightly rejuvenated, your wounds starting to close more quickly than you would expect, and you go to sleep and rest, and you recover a significant amount of your HP. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And the next day comes. It's a little bit warmer than it was yesterday, and you can hear as the camp is very active, with many of these recruits being much more chipper than they have been in the past.
So Charles Smoot makes his way outside, kind of the main heart of the camp, not trying to necessarily get everyone's attention, but to just tell enough people so that they are aware of what's going on.
Now that we've found the vault, as we've already established, it's incredibly dangerous. There are a lot of traps. I don't expect you men to go in searching for what we're looking for while those are still active, so for the time being, I'm going to go through and disable them.
There's a slight murmuring in the crowd.
After Charles Smoot gives his reasoning, he will mount up on an elk and make his way down to the secret vault.
You make your way down the side of the cliff, with Cerulean following after you. You reach the bottom. You see that there are a number of the recruits that are down here, and they seem to be moving some of their camp equipment down here. And among them, you actually see the young recruit that you have some slight rapport with, and you're riding towards the waterfall, preparing to enter it.
What is all this about?
What about, sir?
You're all making camp down here so soon?
Well, I would assume we would, since this is where we're going to have to start searching.
Give it some time.
All right.
It's deadly in there. There could still be traps set. I'm going to go in before all of you to make sure that they're disabled. That way, no more incidents have to happen.
He looks at you.
There are no traps in there, are there?
It certainly wouldn't be safe for you.
Charles Smoot will dismount, walk up to the young lad.
What was your reason for joining the Red Guard?
It's part of what my family wanted me to do. My parents enrolled me in the School of Military Leadership. The other option I had was for the School of Vocational Studies.
So your parents wanted this for you. What did you want?
I want to serve my country, sir.
There's a sort of bitter look on his face as he says that to you.
I don't know what you're doing, sir. I wish to respect your authority, but I have to question your motives.
I used to be like you once.
Until you took an arrow to your knee, sir?
Strangely enough, one of the few parts of my bodies I have not had issues with is my knees.
That's actually good for you.
Listen, I understand wanting to serve your country, but as a man who's come out of the other side of conflict, it's not something you should search for. Dreams and aspirations are great and all, but so is living.
Don't lie to me, sir. If there's one thing I've always been good at, is sniffing out lies. There are no traps in there. Only men. Only monsters.
And he turns and starts walking away from you.
You're an honest man. I like that about you. You want the honest truth?
He stops and turns back to you.
I don't know if I want it.
You should go home before the real monsters show up.
I cannot abandon my post, sir.
Sure you can. Who would know? There are traps everywhere. People get lost in the forest every day.
Then I could not go home, sir.
After a time you could. And trust me, it's better to go home even after a long time apart.
His lips form into a firm line, and he turns away from you, walking back to the camp.
Charles Smoot makes his way into the vault. It's been too long. Listen, there were extenuating circumstances. We all know that this needed to happen. We all wanted it to happen. It is time to go in and loot that body.
You go back over into the back room, opening that secret passage, and you go to loot the body. Looking at the captain, his body just almost completely blue in color as all the blood has drained out of him. And just that look of horror on his face frozen there, slightly beginning to decompose, though it is cooler in here, so it doesn't smell terrible. You see that he is wearing full plate armor. He has a crossbow, a dagger, a longsword, and bolts.
Looking the body over.
For being a captain, you are kind of run-of-the-mill.
He has a baguette in his right pocket. A very small baguette.
A little stale, but
And
Better than
covered
nothing.
in blood.
better than nothing.
Charles Smoot is going to go into the reliquary.
Okay.
He's going to put his piece of the puzzle into one of these, the thing that he picked up from Rayland, that he was given.
Are you just... So
directed
what do you
to-
mean you're putting it in one of?
He's putting it into one of the cases.
Just randomly?
Okay, he's going to examine the other one to see how it's stored.
Okay. You go over to the other one. It begins
It's not
like
the case.
like it has in the past. They both kind of like vibrating a little bit.
Sure, but how is it stored? Just looking at it from a distance.
It is stored on a little tiny pedestal that has it slightly tilted so that you can see that it's a triangular piece.
Yeah, so Charles Smith's just going to throw his into one of these almost at random. He doesn't really care, just as long as he knows where it is. He's just storing it here for now.
Okay.
He wants to keep them separated.
At random, it matters where you put it. It really does.
Is there any case that's empty that has nothing in it?
The giant one that had the trident in
I'll
it?
put it in there.
Okay.
Sure. Charles Smoot will put it in the now empty case where the giant trident was, storing it in there for the time being. He will pick up the other one that was already here, trading him out in efficacy.
Okay.
He's going to play with it.
You play with it.
Does it open and actuate the same as the previous one he had?
It opens and actuates in the same direction as your other one does.
He very quickly closes it.
You close it. It feels identical to the one that you had previously.
Pockets this one. He walks out of the room.
Okay.
He throws the captain's now dead body over his shoulders
Oh, okay.
and begins carrying his corpse. Charles Smoot is going to make his way over to the secret gate.
You walk into this antechamber, up the obsidian-looking stairs onto this platform, where you see the mirror gate.
I set the body down, kind of just setting him.
Well, hey, don't tell anyone what you see here.
And Charles Smoot will go to actuate the mirror gate.
There's no power to it currently.
Oh, Charles Smoot walks over to the generator on the right-hand side of the obsidian platform.
Sure. And you turn it on. It definitely does not.
It's an old generator, you know?
It definitely does not sound like that. You turn on the mirror gate, it powers up, and you see as the panel that goes all the way around it, you see that lights up as well.
Charles Smoot punches in the code for Lamb's Respite.
And the gate shimmers a little bit and shifts, and you see as it kind of like sucks in and then flattens again. You know this is the sign that it is ready for you to traverse.
I heave back up the captain.
Well, thankfully you're dead, so you won't have to experience this.
And Charles Smoot steps through the gate.
It's been a while since you used one.
35 for Charles Smoot.
That's
a
fine.
master in fortitude with the ability that if he succeeds, he gets a critical success instead.
Okay. As you walk through the gate with this corpse passing through, you feel that familiar sensation of your body kind of lurching forward all of a sudden, and you walk out very calmly through the gate into the archival reliquary. And it's very early, so it's kind of quiet. But you see Pal currently leaning over a desk, and it seems like he is soldering.
Hey, pal, how's it going?
He kind of stands upright and turns towards you.
Ah, it is good to see you, Charles.
He pauses.
What is that on your shoulder? Your friend looks very hurt.
He's a little past hurt, pal, but we do need a cleanup on aisle 9 here.
It is a joke.
No, he's dead.
I don't understand. What needs to be cleaned up?
We could probably dispose of the body before, he starts decomposing and bacteria starts spreading and you make people sick. Probably be buried, cremated, I don't care.
I don't know where that is done here. You may need to speak with...
Yeah, I know.
How does Pal look?
He looks like himself.
Was he able to get patched up? Because I remember he was missing a few parts. It's been a couple months.
He does look slightly rejuvenated in the fact that there are the parts of him that were kind of like hanging down a little bit have been put back in place with some soldering. But beyond that, he looks almost the exact same as when you left him. He is a robot after all.
They don't change much.
No, they don't.
No, they don't.
No, they only degrade.
Alrighty, well, I'm gonna check in with the powers that be.
It is good to see you. Is there anything I can help you with besides the body?
Absolutely, pal. Can you tell me a non-lobster related joke?
Well, I can tell you a joke if you would like, but I only know jokes that, well, let's just say, unlike your friend there, the robots only go to the doctor when they have a virus.
That's good.
It was, in fact, not good.
It was terrible.
Well, it made me laugh, pal. Keep up the good work.
No, wait. I got a better one.
I have another joke for you, if you would like it.
You know, we've got nothing but time to shoot.
What is a robot's favorite dance?
It's not the robot, is it?
No, of course not. It's the Roomba.
Do they still have those?
I have not seen one in many years. There could be one in the Grand Archive.
You know of the Grand Archive?
I was speaking with Lord Eden about it.
Why'd she bring it up with you?
She wanted to know if I had any useful information for her.
Is there anything in particular she was looking for?
I have not had the chance to go yet, but she was interfacing with the members of the Jaeger Institute.
Gesundheit. What'd you say?
It is the capital of the Northeast region near Fox's Hovel. It is a seeker-friendly country. We are waiting on authorization for me to travel there.
That'll be great. Maybe you can find some parts to fix you up. Hey, pal.
Yes.
Seeing as you were with Oros for a while, did you ever hear anything about individuals being able to upload their consciousness into other robots?
It is a possibility. Some of the ELSA shelters were utilized for extra experimentation, so there may have been projects expanding on such things. I do know that Oros did seek to extend the lifespan of humanity in various ways.
Was there any way of identifying which ELSA shelters would be working on individual projects?
I cannot access that data. Data is corrupted.
All right, well, thanks for all you do, pal. Best of luck with getting clearance and patching yourself up.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Charles Smoot will begin walking his way upstairs.
You make your way where? Where are you going with all of this? I need to I can guess.
I don't know, the check-in desk.
Okay. You go upstairs the usual way and you walk through this very common area to the keep, to the reception desk where there's always a line. You don't wait in line. You walk past everybody up to the front, and people are literally just stepping to the side. And as you get there, hello, welcome to the information. Oh, it's a body.
Yeah, where do we put these?
Why did you bring this here?
Where am I supposed to take it?
Get it off of my table.
Okay.
Heaves it back up.
What do you want me to do with this?
No, well, you're
Zora! She comes over. What is it with you and bringing things that don't belong here into my house?
I figure you know what to do with this.
Where is it from?
What do you... It's from Wolf's Lodge.
I don't understand why he's here. It never makes sense. We can't give you rewards for bringing dead bodies. If we did
Okay, this
that...
is only the second time I've tried to do that, okay? Listen.
Second, make it the third.
Well, okay, the first time was an incident, okay? I didn't know he was dead.
I think we have already told you. You do not bring dead bodies or people to the base.
Where do you want me to put him?
In the ground. Somewhere far from here.
Well, I don't have time to bury him. I've got more important things to do.
You couldn't have just thrown him into one of the different gates?
Yeah, sure. I'll spin Russian roulette and toss him in.
No. It's fine. Why don't you just put him back where you found him?
Because then the rest of the Red Guard will find him, and it will compromise my entire mission.
There's a brief pause as Nora and Zora look at each other. Wait a minute. Wait 1 second. You're not supposed to be back here.
Okay.
Through the gate.
I understand this.
Why?
In all technicality.
Is the gate open? I'm going to have to go get Lord Eden.
Well, I need to talk to her too, so that's probably a really good idea.
Oh, just you wait. Charles Smoot, just you wait. And Zora runs off.
Hey, Nora, can I put in like a bronze tier secret quest to bury this body? I don't want to do it, but like someone probably should.
You want to hire somebody to bury the body?
Yeah, 25 silver.
I'll put it as a bronze seeker quest. It could even be an initiate seeker for all I care.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Someone can do it.
I don't know. If it starts stinking up the place, I will charge you 25 silver per day.
Here we go. I'm going to put 100 silver on you now.
No. It's fine. I want more than that. I need a deposit bigger than that.
What do you mean a deposit bigger than that?
Does anybody want to bury a dead body? Nobody raises a hand.
It's for 50 silver.
One person slightly raises a hand.
Ayo, that's my man.
Doesn't even have to be a secret. Like, none of this is, that's not even really a secret quest. You're not really asking us to find anything.
You hand me kill rats.
We were very desperate for funds at the time. But also, wasn't it involved with something alien?
Pretty sure you had us pick up an old lady's groceries.
That was community service. It got you brownie points.
I pay the individual willing to bury the body.
They look at the body as you kind of just place it down.
Feel free to take whatever is on his person and sell it for additional profit.
Is that a baguette?
Half eaten.
But as this is happening, you hear the familiar sound of Eden, her footsteps echoing through the halls as she comes down the long staircase and looks over you.
Why are you back, Charles?
How would you feel if you had the opportunity to kill the Order Knight?
In my office. Now.
Charles Smoot follows after Eden.
And she takes you to her office. With each step that she takes, you can feel that she is very displeased. She goes over to her desk, sits down very curtly, gestures for you to sit. She doesn't grab wine or anything. Sit.
Charles Smoot, reading the room, does so obediently.
You were not supposed to come through the gate, Charles. You have put us all at risk.
The vault's closed. No one else can enter.
So you killed all of them?
Not exactly. Not yet. Part of the intention. However, sent 4 people.
As part of a covert mission.
I understand. However, there were complications.
Do explain.
Do you notice my entourage with me?
What has happened, Charles?
We were able to get to Taija, fine enough. However, once we were there, we were apprehended. I was able to strike a deal with the Order Knight Revenant. Interestingly enough, it looks like your intel's right. They are looking for something. I think they were looking for this.
Charles Smoot pulls out the puzzle piece.
There's an identical one there.
She looks at you and then back to the puzzle piece.
I don't know what exactly it's for. I don't think the Red Guard or the Red King has any interest in our gates or utilizing our facility in any malicious intent. I think this is what they're looking for. They're building something big. And I can't do this by myself. I'm going to need assistance. I'm going to need reinforcements.
And what of your party, Charles?
Well, thankfully, they're not dead. They're just all in prison.
She leans back in her seat, placing her hand against her head.
Of course they are. It's the only thing they can do.
I mean, the only thing they can do.
I asked you to do this, Charles, since your party was supposed to be capable.
According to who? There's a ragtag bunch. Maybe Valen can do something. I mean, Kelsey's great for some psychic mumbo-jumbo once in a blue moon, and Finnevere's about a silver tongue and that's it. And that's on a good day.
Did you blow up the vault at least?
I'm working on it.
Then why are you here? I cannot spare anyone.
Can't swear. There are 10 people in line at the information desk.
They are new. The ranks are bronze. We have lost many of our kind.
I have a plan, but I can't execute it on my own. I can do my mission and get out, but I wouldn't be able to save the others that way. I have a shipment of cargo that I can go and acquire. I can blow up your seeker base. But if I do that, I risk stranding Kelsey, Valen, and Finnevere in Taija, with no way of getting them out. Maybe that's not important to you, but like you said, we're already down men. I don't want to lose any more. It just so happens that opportunity displayed itself. I got to speak directly with the Order Knight Revenant. It seems like whatever the Red King is after, be it this artifact or not, Revenant himself is very personally invested. My plan: I murdered the head captain at the outpost at Wolf's Lodge. The Red Guard were already stationed there. They were looking for the vault. I have usurped the position and am in league with the individual who is now de facto in charge. There are about maybe 24 recruit Red Guards. They're also not doing so hot in numbers. My plan: overthrow the Red Guard encampment at night, place all of the Red Guards with Seekers, and try and masquerade as if we are still a proper encampment. For the time being, as we lure the Order Knight Revenant into the Seeker base and blow him up along with it.
As you said, doing this would strand your friends regardless.
Do you have a better plan? If I get Order Knight Revenant off the table, then, I mean, there's going to be a power vacuum. We could probably sneak into the prison and bust him out.
I cannot spare you 20 men. We don't have those numbers.
How many can we spare? If we strike at night, we have the element of surprise in our advantage. We're more well-trained and better than them anyways. They're still spooked. They still believe in mumbo-jumbo and ghost stories that the Seekers are coming back from the grave to kill them. If we play on that, use guerrilla warfare, we can take them out little by little without even losing a soul.
Roll diplomacy.
16 for Charles Smoot.
I am sympathetic to your plight. Truly, I am. I cannot say whether or not your friends would be lost, but you will have to find a way to do this without my help. There is more going on behind the curtain than I can even inform you of. If I were able to give you people, I would, but I don't have anyone active in Lamb's Respite that I can send. My gold rank seekers are already out on other missions retrieving those who have been captured by Red Guard, and guards know where John is. If you find him, he will help you.
Easier said than done. You know he's in Taisha.
Then you should forestall their access to the vault as long as possible, or destroy it. You being here is a risk. The gate is open, its power is on. Those fools do not know how to operate it, but you're the fool that opened it.
Yeah, and they're the fools who are locked outside on the other side of the door. They couldn't even find the door without me, let alone open it.
So they know where it is. Charles.
Like you said, I'll have it blown to smithereens.
All I can offer for you. Restock and resupply yourself. I have no one to send with you. It is their choice, whether they go as well, just as it was yours and your team's.
Here, this is what the Red Guard are after. I don't want it within arm's reach of them.
But you said there was a second.
That's not what they were looking for. I don't know. They look identical to me, but maybe there is something unique about them.
We would have no way of knowing without looking at them.
You can bring the other one back, too. Doesn't make any difference to me. But if I do that, that means the gate's open longer.
If you are able to return after the lodge is destroyed.
The, month-and-a-half journey that's gonna take?
Yes, Charles. Unfortunately, that is the price you pay for being a seeker. You travel places. You go beyond the reach that any man on this earth has ever been. You spend time in your days idling away. But you seek the truth and know the war of attrition will win. But we cannot rush into things, Charles. Isn't that how your friends got stuck, rushing headlong into Taisha?
Fine. Do it your way. I'll leave this one here, and I'll bring the other one back myself.
Very well.
I'll turn the gate off as soon as I return, and it won't be turned on again. Ever.
Stop by the reception desk on your way out. Get a resupply. Prepare yourself for whatever may come. Your reward will come when it all is over.
Better at least be gold tier after this, Eden!
We shall see.
Charles Smoot takes his leave.
Okay.
You know what? We've run into this issue a couple of times now. I think it's probably due time that Charles Smoot gets a secondary weapon
Oh!
for tight corridors, close combat, and maybe he'll just get a random +1 dagger and apply wounding to that.
Okay. They would definitely have something like that in the shop there, so you'll just make that purchase.
Cool. Oh yeah, I'll just buy a +1 dagger and then pay for Hal to graft the wounding graft to the dagger.
It takes them an hour to put it on.
Yeah, I don't care. Not that much of a rush.
Okay, sure. You stop by the store on your way out and you request a dagger to at least have as an alternative weapon in case you're in tight quarters again. Zelrak grumbles a little bit.
I could be a dagger, but you didn't ask for one. Oh yeah, can you also be a wounding weapon?
There's silence.
Maybe I'll graft something to you next time.
And you get this dagger and a new masterwork chain shirt, and you prepare yourself, asking for Pal to upgrade your weapon before you head back out through the gate. And we're back in the antechamber, body free.
Turn off the gate, stop by the reliquary, and I pick up my artifact, my puzzle piece, if it were.
Okay. It's still.
And I head out.
Okay. You return. Heading back towards the upper lodge, you notify Seraphius of the news.
Like Eden said, the mission was to just blow up the seeker base. Make sure that the gate was thoroughly destroyed. The problem is if Charles Smoot does return after having blown up the joint, then he loses his leverage with Revenant, and I feel like that leverage is the only thing keeping Kelsey and Valen alive. But if Charles Smoot is able to sneak back into Taija and kind of, after having already succeeded his mission, only have to worry about extracting them, it might be easier. So, I don't know. That's kind of where I am. I'm on the fence.
Seraphius offers you the advice of,
go down to the dock and see if you can get one of the boatsmen to ferry you over at least to Deptford. Or maybe they'll bring the supplies over. Depends on who you speak with.
Yeah, one way or another. Whatever I do, I need the explosives. How long do you think the Red Guard will take to seeing them?
They've been using explosives all along. I don't think they're going to care as much.
Very well.
But you could also just have them brought in the dead of night. There is a lake, after all. You don't have to stop at the dock.
Fair enough.
They're lazy recruits, not always keeping an eye out.
Yeah, but they're camped right outside the waterfall. No matter how lazy they are.
I'll work them like mad dogs until they're tired enough that they'll sleep through the night. Besides, they need discipline anyway. I know that you thought of taking over this encampment, but these are young lads.
I get it. I don't know how else to get them back. You were there for a while. What are the chances of breaking someone out?
The Red Guard are distracted long enough. It's possible. That's why Franny was going to try to do.
What kind of distraction?
Just the fact of Revenant leaving is a distraction enough.
So, at the very least we can bait him up here while he's coming up the river, we go down.
Indeed.
He gets here, he sees the whole joint's blown to smithereens, turns tail, but by the time he gets back to the city, we could be gone.
True. Well, it will take him time before he can get here. The question is, Charles, are we abandoning the plan?
I don't like it, but no plan's worth your life. Unless you think we can take him. Hell, finding the captain down there was hard enough.
It's a tight space, but that large room isn't as bad. If the floor is set up the right way, it could delay his ability to exit the room fast enough. I think we could do it.
I think the two of us could defeat the Order Knight Revenant.
That will really hurt him.
When you leave, where will you go? I can't imagine you can stay in Taija after all of this.
There's no evidence of anything I've done wrong.
There will be if you attack the Order Knight.
If I attack him, yes. That's why I'm asking you, what are we doing?
Well, that depends on a lot of things.
I think you're overthinking, Charles.
I overthink a lot of things. That's how... Okay, how many people do you see at the ripe old age of 57 nowadays?
A good number of them, actually.
Well, they haven't been through half the shit I have.
What do you want to do, Charles?
Well, part of me wants to rip the man's throat out, sure. The other part of me has some inkling of self-preservation still. But if you want to go through the fight, I just want to make sure that you have a plan. I don't know how many people you still have left in Taija, but at the very least I can say that you would be a very useful asset to the Seekers. You would be welcomed with open arms.
I understand that. I have my wife and my child. If I leave Taija...
Bring them with you. No one's saying you can't.
I wasn't done, but all right.
What, you have extended family too? We talking cousins, second cousins? How deep you want to take this out?
I also have my brother.
Of course.
But if I am able to leave, we'll probably head for New Eden.
You know if there's another secret base there?
There is. It's called Tiger's Den.
That's right. We were to maybe to head through there. How would you get there? Do you know of a route?
Honestly, your best bet is going to be by the sea. But you can cross from Taija. They have to bypass some of their forts that they've put along the border. Or traveling partially through the forest across the border.
So it sounds like your options are find a vessel crazy enough to harbor fugitives, letting you cross through multiple Red Guard checkpoints. Or if you can, get to the outskirts of the border. At the very least, we could escort you through the forest.
Sure. Remember, though, the resistance is growing. If we attack Revenant and we do this, it certainly would be a boon to them. If we choose not to and we destroy the lodge, it still would land a blow to their goals.
Let's sleep on it. Weigh the pros and cons.
It's like midday.
Well, yeah, but I've got to still go and pick up the explosives.
Sure.
We'll talk again.
So,
Charles Smoot will make his way to the docks.
there is a boat there. It's not a very large vessel. It's kind of like a rowboat, but it's one man, and it looks like He kind of steers the boat with a very long paddle that he pushes at the back end of it. Roll a perception check.
I hope we've got something bigger than this to cart the supplies with.
19 for Charles Smoot's perception.
As you get closer to this man who is in the boat, you see that he is wearing a very large, wide-brimmed hat. It's black in color that kind of shrouds his face from view. And you can see that he wears these cloth wraps that are kind of wrapped in such a way that you can notice that his fingers are very gnarled as they wrap around the oar. And from the skin that you can see, it almost looks like his skin is like shriveled and very pale, almost husk-like in its appearance. And you hear this sort of breathy chuckle.
What dost thou seekest?
Didn't expect such a deep and philosophical question from my rowboat charter.
Nobody expects the deep and philosophical rowboat.
Well, right now, I guess just to get to the other side.
If that is what you wish, then I can take you.
Well, Smoot will board the vessel.
You get on his small vessel.
Kind of lounging.
What does Cerulean do?
Is there room for him?
You could try.
Well, he can't see here by himself.
Can he fit?
There's a breathy chuckle again, but there is no reply.
I'll take that as a yes.
I try and get Cerulean on the boat.
Cerulean, you need to roll a nature to handle him getting on this little rinky-dink boat. The bigger boat was fine. The rinky-dink wobbles as you step on it boat.
Critical failure for a total of 12 for Charles Smoot.
Trying to get Cerulean onto the boat, he struggles so much the boat begins to rock.
All right, fine.
And it tips and you fall off into the water. And the boat kind of like veers almost like it's about to fall. But you see as this, like as you kind of like resurface all of a sudden, you see as this man kind of like puts his oar back down in the water and just kind of flips the boat back over. He didn't get wet. He's just sitting there.
Fine then, Cerulean. Go back to the lodge. Have Seraphius look after you.
Blood will spill in secret. Within mountainous doom, crumbling beams of structures burst. Art thou ready to make thy move?
I'm sorry, you, been reading some Shakespeare?
Nay, only a simple boatsman who steers vessels cross waters calm and fierce.
You are much more than that.
Charles Smoot hops back in the boat. I send Cerulean back to the lodge.
He seems to just kind of like turn and start walking in that direction.
Simple boatsman, you say?
Yes.
Not too many of those have I seen carry a blight of the forest. How are you appreciating the new management of the area?
Rulers come and go. There is long and short.
I'm sure the Seekers still treated you better than the Red Guard, though.
My face they know not.
Who sent you?
A friend of a friend of a friend who's a friend.
Well, I'm so glad we're all chipper and cordial around here. You know what they say, a friend of my friend is a friend of a friend of a friend.
Hi.
Hi.
How's it going?
I'm pretty swell.
Thy steps so weary.
One has to be nowadays.
Your path is set, and yet you are drenched in fear.
And he kind of looks up at you, and you just see like this sunken eye that kind of glints at you, almost like red in color. And you swear you hear the slight growl that kind of trails after his voice.
Wouldn't any reasonable person in my position be? It's not exactly like we have superior numbers or any form of advantage on our side. We're playing men down in piss-poor circumstances.
Choose thy path, where fate can guide.
Well, unless fate is rustling up a ton of reinforcements.
Trust in one who is your light. If the way is unclear and spiritual, understand all is not wrong.
What do I desire? I'd love to get back home, but it's more of a long-term goal. For now, I'd settle for getting across the river rousing up some artisans who really don't have much training, at least in order to get them to aid in the rebellion. We do some good for this town and overthrow some authoritarian government.
If that is thy wish, guide you across the waters. But are you ready to make your move? Will death follow in your wake? Or will all of your dreams you forsake?
And he starts like kind of rowing out.
Guess only time will tell.
I think that is where we're going to end off this week's episode of the Gate Chronicles. Thank you, Foundlings, for listening to this week's episode of the Gate Chronicles. We're so glad that you joined us, and we had a very brief combat this episode, so that's great. We do want to give a big thank you and shout out to our very own patrons, Jason Lillis and Stephen Howland, who are supporting our podcast in very many ways by, being there early and listening to our content and saying hey once in a while.
Once in a while.
Once in a while. I feel like that's
Thanks,
us
guys.
saying hey all the time, though. Like, hey, guys.
Hey, guys.
Okay. But there are many ways to support our podcast. You can do so by hanging out with us in our Discord. That link is in the description below. We do stuff. We talk. Sometimes, I don't know. We do stuff.
We're there
Stuff.
all the time.
All the
We
time.
don't do role-playing games that much in the Discord. But
Yeah. We're usually...
if you are there, we are always down to chat about them.
Yeah, exactly. But also tell your friends, your family, your grandma about us. Because I feel like
Dogs and cats are welcome.
dogs and cats are also welcome.
Please
too.
share pictures of your
And
pets.
birds. And birds.
Birds are cute.
Birds are very cute. We do like birds.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. So share the podcast with somebody that you think would enjoy it, because the best way to get people to listen is to tell them about it, because people don't care about ads, and we hate ads. Nobody likes ads. We did ads like once and I was like, ugh, this is terrible. So we'll never do that again.
Don't worry. You'll never hear an ad for us. We're not adding to the problem, but we need you to add to the solution by telling people about us.
Now, we will recommend that you do check out one of our friends, though, Quest Accepted. We actually did a crossover with them recently. I don't know if that's considered an ad. We're just really good friends with them.
This is teetering
We're
on...
good friends with them. They're very good people. So go check them out as well if you want to. You don't have to. Don't feel pressured. But we also want to thank Michael Galfi of Michael Galfi Studios, Yvonne Dutch, Monument Studios, and Epidemic Sounds for allowing us to use their music and ambiance in today's episode. So thank you. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
That's it from me.
And me.
So I guess we'll see you next week
On the Gate Chronicles.
on another episode of the Gate Chronicles. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.